In our previous video, we saw how easy it is to create a new Azure Function app using the online Azure portal. Let's now take a look at some sample applications that show Azure Functions in action. These applications were built in a few clicks using templates. In this first sample, we have an Azure function called timer trigger C#1 that triggers on a regular schedule. If you open the function details blade, you'll see the C# code and the JSON file that make up this function. Let's click on the JSON file, and you will see that the interval is set by this expression here. It is coded using a 6-field cron expression, which allows you to set the start time and duration of the trigger, and includes options for seconds, minutes, hours, days, week, and month of the schedule. Let's first run the sample code and look at the log file. Now let's change the interval to 1 minute. I'll pause the video so you can see the results. Okay, I've left the function running for a few minutes, and you can clearly see the history of the function in the log file as it fired every minute. Now let's look at two examples of a function that is called from an HTTP input. The first one uses an input that I've programmed using some C# code. We have configured it to accept the user's name as a parameter and echo it back in the browser. Let's copy and paste in the URI of the function into a browser and make sure that we are getting a response. Good. Now that we can see a live heartbeat from the Azure application, let's pass a name to it in the URL that we typed. And here we see the response from the Azure Function application. Our second example is an enhanced version of the same application, but now we will configure it to act as an API endpoint. Again, let's copy the URL and paste it into the browser. Notice that this function uses a key as an extra security measure. Let's paste in a query now. Once again, we get a response back from the function and an entry in the log file. In this video, we saw some examples of an Azure Function application and how it can be used in serverless computing. Next up, we will look at some use cases